got all my notes here. Hi, I'm Olivia, and I'm the Witch of Wonderlust. We have another over tea video, just hanging out, talking. The topic today is my favorite creators, and right now I'm brushing over some of my favorite YouTubers and some of my favorite podcasts, both witchy and non-witchy. But first, I need tea. I already have my October teas box, but I found out that they have special limited edition themed boxes this month, and one of them was magic themed. So yes, so I have the magic themed box. I waited until this video to open it, so I have no idea what's in it, and we're gonna unbox it together. No, we're not. I don't have a knife. Here we go. Okay, now we're going to unbox it together. Okay. I am pretty sure there's the butterfly pea tea. Is it butterfly pea? Like P-E-A, not like... Oh no, oh, it's so cute. Okay, so that was a really big reaction for something so small. The little pattern on this has little witch hats on it. That's cute. All right, let's see. So as always, it's got the reusable tea bags, and there's disposable tea bags inside. I love these. I have like 5 of the reusable ones. The first one is Beauty Sleep by the Republic of Tea. It's a caffeine-free. It's got hibiscus, chamomile, rose hips, lemongrass. Oh, the butterfly pea flower. So I was right, it is butterfly pea. Just sounds strange saying it out loud. Blackberry leaves. Oh my gosh. If you have never had blackberry leaf tea, so good. Licorice, hibiscus extract, bamboo, honey, and rose. So that's the first one. The second one is Pink Citrus Magic with a K. This is by Tea Head. Oh, this is by Tea Kitten. It looks just like the Tea Head packaging, so I don't know if it's like the same thing or if they're separate. Green, oh, it's a green tea, but it's low caffeine, and it's fruity, citrusy. It's got purple dragon fruit, apple, lemongrass, butterfly pea, blossoms, lemon peel, watermelon. Okay, the second one is Purple Blend by Friday Afternoon Tea. Medium caffeine, purple tea. What is purple tea? Have you ever heard of purple tea before? I'm a tea fanatic and I've never heard of purple tea. What is that? What? I feel really out of the loop. I feel like I can't call myself a tea fanatic if there's such thing as purple tea. Dragonfruit, lime peel, passionflower, natural vanilla flavoring. Oh, this is interesting. It has a little tidbit. It says it's inspired by one of the greatest rock legends of all time, Prince. It has purple dust. It's edible glitter, so it kind of glamifies it, which is super cute. And the last but not least is called the Magic Potion by David's Tea. Apples, rose hips, butterfly pea flowers, raspberries, blackberries, stevia extract, natural kiwi, blackberry, and bilberry flavoring. 2 of these change colors. I really don't know which one I want. I think we have to try one of them that changes colors. I think I'm gonna go with the David's Tea. I like David's Tea, I like the brand, and it's called Magic Potion, so I think I'm gonna have to do that really quick. Isn't that fun? Isn't that cool? And it's all cool to look at, but it's a fun party trick, but are you really gonna spend money on something that doesn't taste good? But I trust David's Tea. I like the brand. I've always liked their teas every time I've sampled any of them in my SipsBy box. I have a feeling it'll be okay. It's a lot stronger than my other one. It's so good though. Way more intense than my other one, and it's super fruity, so I dig it. I linked everything below, including all of the teas that I mentioned and the SipsBy box, and you can get $5 off using my coupon code if you want to. I have seen plenty of you use that coupon code and love your SipsBy box. Thank you for tagging me in that. So, on with the actual video. I am talking about my favorite creators. Some of them are witchy, some of them are not. I've grouped them in witchy and creators, and then I guess educational and entertainment. So I've kind of categorized them in what I view as those things, but keep in mind that a lot of my entertainment is educational, so those two kind of go hand in hand for me. So first, I'm gonna start with my favorite witchy YouTubers. Now, keep in mind that just because I watch somebody on YouTube or like their content does not mean that I agree with or believe in everything that they do. So I take everything with a grain of salt, but there are some people who have some really, really good information, and I think it's really important to learn from a diverse amount of resources. Okay, so one of the first ones is Jessie Huntenburg. I think I pronounced that correctly. She has a lot of YouTube videos. She's super down to earth. She's really relatable and a very good modern witch. She now has a podcast. I don't think she posts on her YouTube channel as much often. Previous videos are definitely worth going back and rewatching. I loved taking some notes, and also she gives some good pep talks on a lot of things that I get questions on a lot and that other people have questions on. So I think that I highly recommend that for especially the beginner to not to coming out of beginner practitioner. She's an awesome one, and she also has a really nice Instagram feed, so check her out, give her some love. I have not listened to her podcast yet, but I don't even know if it's out yet. I think she's still working on it. To be completely honest, I have no idea, but that has been on my list to check out, and that will probably be one of my favorite witchy podcasts when that goes up and running. The next one is Scarlet Ravenswood. So Scarlet I met through doing an interview in a podcast that I will mention later. She's really down to earth, she's really sweet, she has some really interesting views and ideas and thoughts, and she posts some very lengthy videos that have some really good topics that I think are interesting to listen to, and it's kind of like sitting down and just talking with a friend. So the next one is Molly Roberts. I'm flying through these because I have a lot, just so you know. She's just super smiley, super warm, she has really good vibes, she's always radiating light. She's super artsy, so she has a lot of ways that you integrate your craft in things like your art and journaling and bullet journaling, and she does little altar tours and altar makeovers. Again, she doesn't post a ton on her YouTube, but the videos that are on there, fun to watch, and just her energy. She just has a good vibe. The next one, Magickal Lady Duchess. I do have an interview with her up here. I love Magickal Lady Duchess. She has no fluff. She's super badass, and she grew up a practitioner. Her mother was a practitioner. Her mother's mother was a practitioner, so she has been doing this the whole time. She has really thought-provoking topics, and one of the things that I really like about her channel is that she doesn't tiptoe around what people want to hear due to the modern age and tells you what her beliefs and her thoughts and her opinions are. Being that she is a professional practitioner, she does spell work and owns a spiritual shop, she knows the community inside and out. She lives in that community, and you should try this tea, Alex.
What is it?
It's called Magic Potion. It's really hot though, so like grab it from the...
It's not as magical if you burn yourself?
Probably not.
Ooh.
Isn't it good? It tastes like candy.
Herster.
Ew, don't even... No! This is supposed to be...
Just lap it like a dog. No, that's so bomb.
I'll make you some later. You add like lemon juice and it turns from blue to purple.
Because of the lemon?
The acid in the lemon juice, it changes the butterfly pea flower that's in it. I don't know the exact like chemistry to it.
They call it the butterfly effect?
No, that's something else. I'll be here. Okay, where was I? I also did one of her truth spells. I've gotten a lot of feedback on that. Like I said in that video, that truth spell is potent, so if you are not actually ready to know the truth, be prepared. but she has some really cool stuff. Next one, of course, Harmony Nice. She's a wonderful Wiccan YouTuber. If you haven't heard of her and you're watching my channel, I don't even know what you're doing, because she's like the YouTube witch at the moment. She has a series called Enchanted Endeavors that goes into a lot of different details. It's heavily Wiccan based because she's Wiccan, but it's super, super helpful, and also they're beautifully shot because she is a professional YouTuber, so she has the skills with the camera and the editing and does a wonderful job with that. And again, I'm not Wiccan, so I can't help you with a lot of Wiccan questions that you may have if you were trying to follow that path, so I am not the person to ask. Sorry, but she might have some answers on her channel for that. The next one is Adela Lavine. I love Adela. She's one of my friends in real life, and she is in the spirit realm pretty much her whole life. She's more comfortable in the spirit realm than she is on the physical realm, whereas I do spirit work relatively never, unless it's with my own spirits and my own ancestors. Other than that, usually it's, if I'm ever interacting with a spirit, it's just kind of like a friendly nod to a neighbor. It's never actually fully interacting with another spirit or deity or anything like that. So her channel has a lot of really interesting ideas of spirit work, of the spirit realm, of what shadow people are, of interdimensional beings, of sleep paralysis, of mediumship. She is a professional medium by trade, so if that is something that you want to learn more about, and she also loves answering questions, so you can ask her questions over on her channel, and I bet you she'll probably get back to it. And she's very active on Instagram, and a lot of the time she will ask questions of what type of things you want her to do a video on next, so go ahead and check her out as well. My next one is Conjured Cardea. Again, she is a professional practitioner, so she has a lot of information both on her YouTube and her Instagram. She, I believe, lives in New Orleans, but don't quote me on that. I think she does. But again, so she's super interesting and has a lot of information on both of her pages of YouTube and Instagram. The next one is Mystic Dylan. He's another friend of mine in real life. He has degrees and has been initiated in all these things. Has been to Egypt, has a degree in anthropology and occult, and is just wildly knowledgeable. So he has a YouTube channel, but he is actually more active on Instagram, but both I think you should check out because he does post on both. As for tarot, Daily Tarot Girl, she's just a good tarot resource in general. When I was learning tarot, her videos were one of my go-to. I would watch a lot of her videos of how she read spreads, how she put the cards together, and she would kind of talk about how to do that on your own as well. Shonnetta's Divine Tarot. She's just so there and so vibrant and very warm. She has not only pick-a-card readings that are creepily spot on every time, but she is also just super bubbly, and she talks about doing things like money jars and making your own Florida water, so she has a lot of information on her channel as well. Next one for tarot is Hardest Man in Tarot. Pretty much because he just kind of feels like a friend giving me a reading. He's just got this really earthy, down-to-earth vibe to him, and I really like his astrology readings. Even though I don't completely understand everything about the zodiac, I do love going to my sun signs and my moon signs and all that stuff for his readings on his channel. The last one for tarot is Lumineer. She has pick-a-card readings. She has very light energy and is super welcoming. I don't post a lot of spells themselves because A, they're super personal, and B, again, if you don't have that foundation of certain things in your practice, I can give you the exact tools that I use and the exact chant and the exact time and date and whatever, and it might not work for you because of the lack of the foundation. But spells are always nice to have in your back pocket, so LearnSpellCasting is actually a really good YouTube channel to do that. Now I'm moving on to the other YouTubers. This is more like business skill type of educational stuff. I personally like to build certain skills such as videography and photography, and I also have my own brand and my own business essentially for YouTube and Instagram and all that jazz. So I wanted to learn as much as I possibly can from other people who have already done it or other people that were already in that journey. First and foremost, Peter McKinnon. If you have not heard of Peter McKinnon and you enjoy photography and videography, that's the man, the photography, videography king, if you will. He has some amazing tutorials. He's just got this really good energy, and you can tell that he just genuinely loves what he does, which makes everything 100 times better. And he's Canadian, which I don't know why that's a plus, but it is. Whoa. I almost spilled my tea. Y'all are ready for me to spill the tea. Okay, next one, Mango Street. So again, if you're in the realm of photography or videography, there's another person that I feel like you probably have heard of. They're based in LA, they're easy to understand, all of their tutorials are super upfront and to the point. They have a really unique style of photography, so I highly suggest that you check them out on not only here, but Instagram. Same thing with Peter, obviously. I feel like any of the photographers, just follow them on Instagram. It just makes sense. The next one is an amazing filmmaker, Daniel DeArco, I think is how you say his name, not Danny Darko. Sorry, Daniel. Oh, he put so much effort in every single video, and it's just ridiculous. So he's also super crafty. You can see him build his own light box, and when there's a specific video that I'm thinking of, he built his own light box, and then he like is doing a whole dance routine because he's also a dancer, because apparently the man like flies and poops gold. I don't know. He's ridiculous. Just check it out. I'll link that specific video if I can find it, because it's just a ridiculous video. I cannot imagine how long that. The next one is this photographer, Holly Rose Stone. She specializes in self-portraits and photo manipulation, so she has these wonderful, beautiful pieces of art of her as the subject, but has these very interesting, surreal twists to them. So that is something that I highly suggest that you check out, especially on Instagram, because she has some really cool photography. On her YouTube, she posts tutorials on how she goes about that, so that's super helpful also. Lastly, in the photography realm, Sorelle Amore. So her channel, kind of is like a bunch of different things. It's kind of cool. So it started out a lot as travel and photography, and she gives you a lot of really good tips on travel and photography, and now it's more self-improvement and self-branding and allowing yourself to build yourself as a creative, become financially stable on that. So that is super cool. She's like a wild woman badass. So the next one is Blogaties. I said this in the last one and I don't remember. It's like Pilates, but Blogaties. Anyway, she is a fitness instructor that is on YouTube that specializes in showing you how to work out at home. And as a pole instructor and as an introvert, I don't like going to the gym. I like working out at home. It's a lot more comfortable, and also it's so much easier if some of my students want to work out a certain piece of their body for a certain pole move. It's just easier for me to show them something that they can do at home, so that I know that that's not one extra step of them having to go to the gym or even get a gym membership and then go to the gym and then do this one thing on a machine. I like her, and she's also really motivating. There's nothing about it that's kind of like, that's discouraging, because she constantly reminds you that your body's changing every day and you can change your body with intention. And the last one is an artist that I have followed for years. I've watched her go from just making YouTube videos because she enjoys it to becoming a full-time artist and YouTuber, and she's amazing. Minnie Small, she's this really unique artist. She does beautiful videos. They're super relaxing and laid back, and a lot of the time I love having her vlogs on while I'm outlining a video or doing my bullet journal. She has really good Inktober videos as well, so just trust me on that. There we go. That's a little less dark. So we'll move into the last segment of the YouTubers. I realize that I have a lot of YouTubers here. I spend a lot of time on YouTube. The next one is entertainment / craft DIY type of people. So the first one in that category is Coolirpa. April. She is a DIY fashionista. She has sewing tutorials. This is another one of those YouTubers that I've watched for years that just started out as a hobby. She started doing a lot of sewing tutorials and I followed along, and a few years after that, now she is I believe she's a full-time YouTuber. It's cool to watch a YouTuber go from just like cute hobbyist to just like rocking it. Anyway, so she's really cool. The second one is with Wendy. She is also DIY fashionista, so she has sewing tutorials as well, and she has this really cool, like, laid back vibe as well. I'm seeing a pattern here I really like, really laid back vibed people. Next one is Annika Victoria. She is also a DIY fashionista. She does this certain segment where people will send her a ridiculous DIY or a ridiculous fashion statement piece, and she has to try to recreate it, and it's just a lot of fun. She's also just really sweet, and she has a really cool movement of chronic illness awareness. A genuine person, and I feel like she would be a really sweet person to me. Not that anybody else wouldn't be sweet, but I just feel like her in particular would just be like a really sweet person to hang out with. Nik the Booksmith. She just gives me such mom vibes in a good way. I don't think I hope that doesn't sound like an insult, because that definitely was not an insult. But she's just like homey, and she like her videos feel warm, and she has a lot of crafting for journal crafting, junk journaling, and she builds books out of scratch and revamps books. I don't know, I like her videos. They just make me want to craft and scrapbook and journal a lot. If you want any inspiration, especially for your grimoire, I would highly suggest Nik the Booksmith, because she has some really neat ideas of little pockets and envelopes and all these different things. Check her out. This next one is called Peaceful Cuisine. He is a Japanese chef. At least I'm calling him a chef, because his recipes are immaculate. Everything is so tedious and beautifully put together, and the way he films everything is just really organic. I don't think there's any music in the background, and if there is, he does 2 separate videos, one with music and one without, and just like these muted tones that he uses when he films, and just believe me, if you're looking for something, like if you're like having a bad day and there's just like too much going on, watch one of his videos. Just believe me, everything's fine now. Everything's chill. Next, Fairyland Cottage. I guess I could have mentioned this one in the witchy, but not so much. She is this beautiful woman from Ireland, makes a lot of simple living DIYs and videos, and they're all very mystical, and it is very fae-like. Basically, the channel is exactly what the channel's name sounds like. Film when the sun's going down. That's a really good idea. Okay, wow, that was a lot. That was a lot of content creators. And now I'm gonna list more. Okay, so we're going to podcasts next. First, of course, the witchy podcasts. The first one is going to be The Witch and the Medium. Adela and Dylan both come together. Dylan is more earth-based. He is physical realm of witchery, and Adela, again, is more in the spirit realm. So them coming together and talking about different spiritual topics, it's super interesting, and it's also really lighthearted. They don't take themselves super seriously, which is nice, because sometimes it's hard to relate with people in the spiritual community who take everything so ridiculously seriously. It's just hard to relate to, and I don't think that that's bad, because spirituality is something that, you know, it's a big part of people in their lives, but there is an aspect of humility that I think comes with being human. You can't take everything seriously. That is just exhausting. Anyway, next one is Cosmic Keys podcast. So remember Scarlet Ravenwood that I talked about in the Witchy YouTubers? She is one of the co-hosts on this podcast, and Scarlet and Dan, the 2 hosts on this podcast, but they have some really interesting topics. They're very astrology heavy, which I found interesting, and when I was interviewed on the podcast, he actually did my chart, which I had never done before, and there were some things that the first time ever with astrology that I was like, wow, that actually makes a lot of sense. Because like I said, astrology doesn't really hit home for me a lot of the time, but when he did my chart, I was like, interesting. That's creepy. My other podcast is Biddy Tarot Podcast. Very detailed and talks about being a full-time tarot reader. Either way, if you're trying to read tarot, if you're just beginning or still kind of figuring things out, that's a really good podcast to check out. Those are the only witchy podcasts I have. I'm very picky about witchy podcasts. I don't know. I'm just picky with them. I don't know. I'm going to start with educational podcasts. They still are very entertaining, but I'm going to start with like general educational. So the first one, Alchemy. It's mainly about your well-being, both physical and spiritual, and different, I guess, not so run-of-the-mill ideas of how to go about being healthy spiritually and mentally. And Leon, the host, has really interesting people that he interviews, and one of my favorite things is that he constantly tries to tell you, do not take everything that he says or that even the experts that he has come onto his show as law that he encourages everybody to question everything, even the things that he says and the things that the experts say. Just, I think, is really important, doing your own research and coming to your own conclusions instead of taking anybody's word as is. Next thing is Factually. And this is kind of the same thing, but not really, as the Adam Ruins Everything podcast. Both are hosted by Adam Conover from Adam Ruins Everything, which, if you do not know already, I love that show. Both podcasts, both Adam Ruins Everything and the new one, Factually, both are amazing. I love the topics that they have, and they are all super interesting. And after every single episode, I'm usually researching that topic in depth more, looking at different books and resources and articles and all these things, and it's a whole thing. The next one is Science Rules, hosted by Bill Nye. Now, I am 23. I grew up with Bill Nye, which I feel many of you as well did. Open-minded science podcast, and talks about some really interesting things. And I also really love that in his interviews with people, with different scientists and experts, he asks them to break things down for the people who are not scientists or experts, and I think that's really helpful, and it's an interesting podcast to listen to. And again, he also is constantly saying, just question everything, question, and be curious, because I think that is one of the best things to have as a quality. My next one is Zero to Travel podcast. Jason, the host, is super down to earth, laid back. I believe he's in Norway right now. If you don't know already, I really love traveling, and I'm doing my best to work up to traveling more and more. I think traveling is something that is super, super important, and that everybody should try at least once, I hope. But he talks about different ways of being able to travel on kind of any budget, I guess different experiences while traveling, or best places to go, or just has all these different topics that are super helpful if you are interested in traveling, or even just if you have a vacation coming up pretty soon and you kind of want to prepare for that if it's like a really long vacation and somewhere you've never been. The other two are more business-based entrepreneurship type of stuff. The first one is Letters from a Hopeful Creative. There are two hosts, and both women are super chill and really kind and sweet, and both own their own businesses and build them from the bottom up. I want to do something that I love and be financially stable, and their stories are really interesting. They have a lot of really good advice on that. Check that out if you are an entrepreneur of any type. The next one, same thing, entrepreneurship, Raw Milk. So Beth Kirby is a food blogger, I believe, and her story is wild. She has a whole episode of her whole backstory, and you would never guess the things, like her life was just, she gives advice also about entrepreneurship and her journey and all that stuff in building your own business and your own brand. All three of these women, the two from the other and the one from Raw Milk, all three of these women have a form of mental illness, and they talk openly about it and are very open about it, and I think that's cool that they're so transparent, especially being I am a business owner, and these are the things that I do, and this is something that I struggle with, especially working from home or X, Y, and Z. This one kind of is on the cusp of educational and entertainment, the Mad Scientist podcast. I was actually interviewed on this one about a year ago. Chris Cogswell and Marie, which I didn't get to talk to Marie, but both are hilarious. They talk about strange cryptids and kind of mesh it with science and supernatural, and it's just good. If nothing else, they just feel like good company. So again, kind of educational, kind of entertainment. Lore. If you've not heard of Lore and you are into spooky stuff, what are you doing? Lore, Cabinet of Curiosities, and Unobscured are all hosted by the same guy, Aaron Mahnke. He's a great storyteller. I personally really like his podcasts and the way he puts everything together. The atmosphere, everything about it, just so good. Next, Graveyard Tales. Love Graveyard Tales. So these two guys, Adam and Matt, they feel like they're your fun uncles telling you really spooky stories about spooky things around the campfire. Also, the community on Facebook is just super funny and really cool. They talk about all things supernatural, all things strange, all things weird. So check those out also. And this one is the last one, and this one is purely entertainment. The Black Tapes. It's super spooky, and it is scripted, and it's really interesting, and it's an ongoing. So every single episode is part of one bigger story. It's basically like watching a TV show, but you're listening to a TV show. And I believe they finished it, but I'm not 100% sure. But that is my list of all of my favorite creators so far. I mean, there's obviously plenty more people out there that have some amazing creators, that are amazing creators, and don't even get me started on like plant YouTubers, because we can go there if you want to also. Summer Rain's Oak and Plantarina, those two are good ones. Ohio Tropics. Okay, I'll stop. But everybody that I mentioned in the description below, so if you are wondering how to spell one of those or anything like that, don't worry, I got you back. But thanks for hanging out with me and having a cup of tea, and I hope that you have found some wonderful creators through this. I hope that you like them as much as I like them. But other than that, I will see you in the next video, and as always, best of luck, be kind to each other, and may your gods treat you as you've treated others. Bye.